2 colleges and an institute. So I had presidents reporting to me, which means the chancellor. That's why I was called the chancellor. We had 64,000 head count. And it was just a big operation. And I learned a lot about how to deal with a big institution with big budgets and lots of students. Well, about that time, well, I should say first that in the 16 years we were gone in learning how to be a president, and I recommend that kind of an experience for a president. We subscribed to the Morehead paper for 16 years, Morehead News, and read it better than people back here. People back here would read certain things, we read it all. We were better informed than a lot of people here, and we would telephone call from Spokane because of the distance. But when we were in Michigan for 10 years, we came here every year for a visit. We kept contacts here, and we, of course, with those contacts, knew what was going on. And we knew the different things that happened at the university. The president that was appointed following Dr. Dorn, the other presidents, and everybody here knew we wanted to come home. During the first interview, the regents set a policy, listen to this, that they did not want to hire a person who had previous strong ties to MSU. And in fact, the chair said, I'd like to hire a person that had never been on the campus. So they did. And they hired Dr. Reinhardt, Herb Reinhardt. And I was eliminated immediately by that policy. I was interviewed, a very nice interview, but how can I be eligible when they established that policy? And it took the whole board to agree to that policy, which surprised me. For the second interview, after the president had resigned, I became a candidate and I was invited for an interview. I had a copy of the personnel roster that I'd requested, that I read coming on the airplane. And I marked it, and I identified 175 people here that I knew well, 175. So I was interviewed, and by the faculty, when they asked a question, I said, Miss Hatfield, what's your question? And they were impressed by that, I had all kinds of questions, and I would recognize each one of them by name. So that impressed some. But the thing that I did that was psychological, it has a special meaning in Eastern Kentucky. It has a special meaning here. I kept saying, I want to come home. Well, after my interview here on campus, 5 or 6, I can't remember whether it was 5 or 6, but a lot. I thought a lot. Usually they send 2 or 3 regents to come to your campus and interview people and all, But they sent 5 or 6. Well, I had 3 colleges, so I expect they wanted to visit all 3 colleges. They wanted to visit the Chamber of Commerce and other people, so they sent 5 or 6. They spent 3 days finding out about me. Well, as usual, their last night, as usual meaning for Wilma furnished them a beautiful table set and dinner at our home. And after dinner, the chairman looked up and said, well, we've decided we'll invite Wilma. We want Wilma but we don't know about you. And within a couple of days, I got a telephone call, and they said, "We want you to be our next president." I'd wanted that for 16 years. I considered it the epitome of my career. I had to promise them that I would work 5 years. They were afraid that I'd come here and retire. Knowing me, I never retire. And so I had no trouble saying, I'll stay here for 5 years because I'll be ready to retire at 64. And I did. Your next question aggravates me. The tone of the question got me so hot that I had to cool down before I answered it, because it suggests that the division maybe wasn't right, correctly presented. Maybe we didn't even need it. And I, obviously, after working there for 11 years, being one of the key persons, I felt a little abused, but I'll answer the question. The Division of Applied Science was born before I arrived. Prior to 1960, I think maybe I've mentioned this, the 35 department heads reported to Dean Lappin. With the growth evident under Dr. Dorn's leadership, and this place was just jumping, they decided to group the departments into 5 divisions. It had to be, could have been 6, it could have been 4, but after a long time of study, they settled on 5 divisions. And my division was agriculture, home economics, industrial education, and business as one of the divisions. So under new leadership, after I left, and the leadership changes were at all levels. They weren't just the president, a new president, but there were changes within the administration. When our schools changed to colleges, there obviously was some reconstruction, some reorganization, and it was normal. And here's where I have to rebut. No one objected to the School of Applied Science and Technology when we enrolled 1/3 of the student body while I was here. 1/3 of the students. And it was hugely successful. Okay.